record this training for your future reference. So now I'm recording it.
Okay, that's great.
So perfect. So Sagi mentioned that I should focus on with you a little bit of inventory and kind of how the product is ideally should flow.
Okay.
Does that sound about right?
Yeah. Because I'll be teaching the others how to use it as well.
Got it. And do you want me to work in my Vetter account, or should we work in your account?
Whatever works for you is fine.
Okay, I'll use mine just because I have a lot of records already made and everything. So when you go to, we'll focus on inventory here first. And inventory, have you created any inventory yet?
No, I've just been browsing through it. So I just activated it like a couple of days ago, like maybe 3 days. So I've just been like skimming over it, but haven't sat down and.
No problem. So inventory comes preloaded with over 50,000 items. So, and think of inventory as not just anything physical, but anything you want to charge money for, or anything that you want to send from your clinic. So it could be you create your discounts here, your fees here, your service items, and of course, your medicines. So for example, when you create your inventory, you'll come to here and you'll say new item. And this will, of course, if I type in, I don't know, cephalexin, right? And you can see it auto-completes, and it gives me all these choices. Which ones am I going to sell? The capsule, or the suspension form, or the tablet form, or, and you pick whatever you want, okay? And you say, okay, I'm going to sell these. And then what happens is the display name is how it looks on the invoice, right? A lot of times people just keep it the same. And then Vetter was going to pick the category for you. 99% of the time it's correct.
Yeah.
But if you said to yourself, no, this is an herb. Well, it's not an herb, but if you wanted to, you could change it. You can make your own subcategories, and I'll show you how to do that. And then, is it a controlled substance or not? Vetter is going to know that, but it still gives you the choice, yes or no. If you're going to use a dosage calculator, and I'm going to use now my cephalexin. So by the way, once that item is created in inventory, once you fill this all out, you can then search for that item in your inventory up here. So I'm going to pull up that same item, the cephalexin, that I've created in my inventory, just so you can see how it looks. And what I did here is as follows. Here's the cephalexin, okay? Now, you can, for example, if you're going to use a dosage calculator, does your staff need to use that?
Well, just the vets. Most of the computations are done by the vets.
Okay, so Vetter has a calculator so that anytime you add the item to a patient, it'll do the calculations for you. You just have to fill out this in advance. And I just got this right off the bottle, right?
Okay. This is so the dosages that you put are for what species though?
No. It's based on the weight of the animal.
Oh, no, I mean, sorry, for what species? Is it for dogs or cats or?
It doesn't make a difference. And in the U.S., they don't do it per species. They do it by weight.
No, I'm sorry. I mean, because sometimes the dosages for a certain species is different for a different species. Like they might have higher dose range for cats, or sometimes they have higher dose range.
We don't have that option.
Okay.
In the U.S., they don't set it up that way, but you could override that. So, for example, this same item right here, and I'll show you what I mean by this. And in Vetter, by the way, a little trick. The arrow, whenever it becomes a hand, right, you can click on something, and I can click I can open another browser tab. So I'm just holding down the command key, and I press enter. So I can have multiple browser tabs open.
Okay.
So I went to a sample patient of mine, And this is a guy I always use, Azrael from the Smurfs.
Mhm.
And if I wanted to add cephalexin, just to show you what I mean by the calculator, come to here, new record, and and every charge is known as a medical record. We just call it a record. It's a charge. And I type in cephalexin. Oh, there's that cephalexin, right? And provider is me. And based on the animal weight, the last recorded weight, if you needed to use a calculator, you could come to here and you'd say, oh, okay, my cat's ridiculously fat, 45 kilograms. I got to change that. But it's giving you the range here. Now,
Okay.
if you so said as the doctor and said, I know I need to give more for cats, or this is a bigger cat and I want to give a higher range or higher dose, you can just come in here and say, I want to give 25 milligrams. Right.
Oh,
And then veterans. So this is the doctor's right to override. This is just what's written on the bottle. And then the doctor can edit this and put in what he or she wants.
okay.
So that's how the dosage calculator works.
So basically, you have a default for each drug, and you can
Absolutely.
override it every time if you want to.
Yes.
Okay.
And so I just want to show you what that means right there here. Okay. Now, print on invoice, yes, no. Most, why wouldn't you print it on the invoice? Maybe because it's a fee. You don't want to print a fee on an invoice, up to you. Next due indicates when you're going to send a reminder. So I know there's not a next due for cephalexin, but let's say it was a 3-year rabies shot. You would say next due in 36 months, right? 1 year, 12 months, right?
Mhm.
So this is what determines when the software sends out a reminder. Okay.
And the reminders are sent through email, correct?
Yes, email and or text. Do you want to send text reminders or just email?
You probably want to send text reminders as well.
Okay, so I'll go to your account. We'll go to your account in a moment. Make sure that gets set up. Okay. Now, another thing here, pricing. You can have a minimum price for an item, right? Cephalexin is like 10 cents a pill. And, maybe you say there has to be a minimum price, at least $10 or $5 or what have you, right? Once it goes above that amount, then Vetter will price it accordingly. And you can either have a fixed price or we call it dollar cost averaging. Now, I recommend for any prescription drug, any item you buy from a manufacturer, you should have a markup here, because whenever the prices go up and you record the purchase, Vetter will then adjust the pricing accordingly. So, I have 100% markup, right? 100% base and 100% markup, 200% of latest cost.
Okay.
So you can determine that here. You can add any
the options again. Sorry. So there's the percentage for markup, average cost, percentage of highest cost, percentage of highest.
you pick.
Okay.
It all depends, how you do it. Entirely up to you, right?
Sorry, percentage of highest cost of acquisition. Is that
yes? So I'll show you how that looks in just a moment. I'll show you what I mean by that.
Okay.
Now you could put a fee in here, right? Any kind of fee. You make these fees up, and I'll show you how that's done in a moment. Okay. And then don't worry about route and location. This is just where you administer the drug. And this is usually for big hospitals where the technician never sees the veterinarian and they're just looking at instructions.
Yeah.
You don't need to worry about that. This is what gets printed on the prescription label. Okay. So that's what's there. And so now, how does that item look in real life? So first off, you could also do what we call price tiering, where you can give discounts, right? Hey, if they buy 50, we give 15% off. Buy 100, 25% off. Whatever. Up to you. right? Vetter just figures that out. It will also have the sales history here, right, of every item. And notice here the minimum price. Usually it's always the minimum price. Here it went above. Here we bought 30 capsules. So it's above the minimum. So it's, $12.90. This is where you make adjustments. This is where you make adjustments. Things were expired or discarded, and that keeps the number here. And then you make your purchases. So I'll show you what I mean by this. Now, whenever you get an invoice from anyone, I always encourage clinics to, keep good inventory. Track your purchases with a lot number and expiration date, right? It just makes managing the process much easier. So, for example, notice right now the price is $1. Let's just say tomorrow you buy some more cephalexin, and you create your suppliers and contacts. You just put them in your contacts. And I'm just going to pick, whatever. I'm picking an American supplier here, and you put your own in. Right. And I'm going to put in and say, hey, I bought suddenly 200 capsules, and I'm going to make it expensive. Let's just say it was $200 a piece. I mean, $1 a piece. Very expensive. And I put a lot number in there. Right. And I'm making up an expiration date, and there you go. Okay. Now, remember the price was $1 a piece. Now watch what happens to the price. Notice what happened. The price went up because this was so expensive. Vetter just adjusted the price.
Oh, yeah.
Because what it did was it took the latest cost, which was the latest price. Now, maybe I take it from the average. And if I do the average of all my purchases, it's only 56 cents, right? So you can play around with this and figure out, what's the best for you. Is it percent of the highest cost or the latest, or, here it's ridiculous. Wow, now it just went.
Yeah.
One of my purchases was so expensive. So you pick and choose. Does this make sense?
Yeah, it does.
Okay, cool. So now that's how you create a basic, prescription item in inventory. Now I can also create in inventory 3 other types of items. I can create a fee. If I just want to call it, I don't know, medicine prescription fee, or, pharmacy fee, whatever. And as soon as I put this in here and I choose the category here, fees, notice that everything becomes a lot of comes grayed out here. And all Vetter is saying here is for the fee, you can put in a percent or a price, like $5.
Yeah.
And maybe you don't want to print that on invoice, and you say no. And just like that, I have a fee. So now, for example, if I want it on that cephalexin, and by the way, this is a great navigation tool right here. Last 10 places you've been in the software. I go right back to my cephalexin and I say, hey, maybe there is a fee. And I go, oh, pharmacy fee, right? And I add that fee in there. So now that $5 fee will be on top of whatever else you charge. It'll be part of the drug price. It just won't show it on the invoice.
Got it.
Okay. Good. Now, another item you can enter, and because we have 2 pharmacy fees in there, I'm going to delete this fee.
Are there really pharmacy fees there?
In the U.S.? Oh, yeah. This is where clinics make a lot. See, I don't know how it is in the Philippines, but in America, veterinarians are not well paid.
Yeah, same here.
Same here, right? And so, because people said, even though you guys do the exact same thing as human doctors, right? People think for an animal, they're not going to pay the same. And so, but what's funny, human beings will pay whatever the cost of medicine is. It's weird. You just put, some strange name, phenobarbital or prednisone, whatever, a long name, and you put a price next to it, and people will pay it. So where clinics make their money in America is on pharmacy items.
Wow.
And the way they make the prices even a little higher, they add a fee to every item. And it's very common in the US.
Okay.
How they kind of make extra money there. Now, the next item you can add is a discount. You can then come to here and say, let's say here, you're from, I notice your clinic's in Pasig, right?
Yeah. That's it.
Pasig, that's near, is that near Cavite?
No, but it's depends on what near is for you. It's not that far, but it's maybe an hour or two. It depends.
Okay. I asked just because I had an old girlfriend, and I went to the Philippines with her, and she was from Cavite, and I remember we went through a city called Pasig.
Yeah, you might go through Pasig. Yeah, you could.
Yeah. Okay, because she lived, her family lived in Rizal.
Rizal is so we kind of share a border. Pasig shares a border with Rizal.
Okay, all right. So there you go. So all right, good. Maybe you say the Pasig discount, right, or something like that, right? And then you just come to here under discounts, and same thing. You say, hey, I want everybody from Pasig gets 10% off.
And it will apply to the whole to the entire bill.
Yes, so you can apply discounts two ways. You can apply the discount on the client level. Let me show you that. We'll go to the client right here. And so when you sign up a brand new client, you can come here and say, hey, you get a discount right here. You pick it. That means every time that client comes in, they get that discount.
Yeah.
Okay. Or you can just apply it on the invoice level. Maybe you forgot to add in the client. Oh, I'm from, Pasig, and I want, whatever. You're like, oh, great. Here's a discount. Discount, no discount. And you come to here, edit, and then you can add the discount right here too. Okay. Now, if you ever need be, because there's a, you can also, if, maybe the patient had a bad experience or the client waited really long, you can always discount just one item. You can always go to an invoice here and edit the item and put oh, you know what, I'm really sorry about today. Here's $5 off. And you could just discount an item right there too. And I hit save and done, and now, the balance, it got reduced to $50 or whatever it is, right?
Yeah.
And so you can always go ahead and, edit the item there and discount the item if need be, okay? This is a bad example. This was wellness plans and stuff, but you can always go ahead and do that too. So, and finally, the last item to show you an inventory is this. And I'm going to go to an extreme example, but this is kind of, it's a technique. Let's say you do a surgery item. Let's say you do a surgery and you want that client to come back with the patient 2 weeks later. Yeah. So I create an item, follow-up visit, or surgical follow-up visit. I create an item. Now this item, notice it has no price. It's not printed on the invoice. It's just next due in 2 weeks. Okay. Now, for example, let's just say, a client comes in and had a surgery. Hey, and you give the surgery and you say, I want to see you in 2 weeks. So you can always come right here and go to reminders, new reminder, surgical follow-up, right? And this will send a week prior, and watch, given 2 weeks later, it's due. Okay. Right? And so then if I hit save, it'll show up right up here. Okay? Now, Is this all making sense so far?
Yeah.
Okay, great. So now the last kind of item in inventory, kind of making inventory come together, is this. We have what are called bundles. And do you know what bundles are?
Yeah. Well, we do have fun. I guess it's like a package. Is that?
Exactly. So watch this. Instead of adding that item manually, watch this. You go to your bundles here. These are bundles I've already made. Look at my surgical procedure bundle.
For example, we actually have for vaccines, for puppy vaccines.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, so if you wanted any kind of follow-up, notice what I did here. I added it to the surgical bundle, and it doesn't print on the invoice.
Oh, okay.
So if you add it to the patient record, it automatically generates the reminder. So that's a way of using inventory, right? You're not creating an item that you're going to make money off of. It's an item that you want the patient to show up for.
Okay.
And you put it right here. Now to go do an extreme example. A lot of American clinics, they kind of do like cute marketing examples.
Uh-huh.
They create items called Hug Your Pet.
Hug your pet.
And so in other words, client comes in for a vaccine bundle package, and you add Hug Your Pet. In other words, or you say, Dr. Tabby says, hug your pet today.
Got it. Yeah.
Or greetings from Dr. Tabby. And all of a sudden, a month later after the appointment, they're going to get an email from you saying, oh, Dr. Tabby says hello and to hug your pet. And people love that stuff.
Yeah.
So you can also—
That's actually a good idea.
Yeah, it is. So this is one of these where inventory, it doesn't have to be a physical item. It can be, you say, hey, every bundle in December gets a Merry Christmas message, right? Or, what have you. It's a good little marketing tool just to show you. Now, the last part on inventory for you to see are things we'll call them actions. And actions make a lot of items, they automate inventory. So for example, every item in inventory can have right here a low balance or expiration alert. Like, I want to know when there's 100 left, or I want to know when it's about to expire. And you can set that for any item. I'm going to delete these here just so we do it all at once. So in other words, you can see how I'm doing it from the very beginning. I'm not going to update the bundles on that. Delete action, do not update bundles. And let's say you come to an item and you say, what actions can we do? We could, for example, if this were a spay-neuter procedure, you create an action and automatically makes the patient, desexes them. It could be a euthanasia procedure where, hey, you add euthanasia and it automatically, deceases the patient and deactivates reminders.
Yeah, that's
you could create those alerts where automatically expiration or low balance alerts.
Okay.
You'd say it right there. You could also have print certificate. Like in the Philippines, do they have to have vaccine certificates?
Yeah, we have like a record. They just prefer it that way. But yeah, I know what you mean.
But the software automatically has certificates here.
Can you put in the logos of the clinic?
Yeah, so watch. It'll automatically do it. So if you wanted, for example, hey, anytime I add a vaccine to a patient record, it'll print the certificate. And that means the printer in the clinic will automatically just all of a sudden, boom, print it out. So like in busy American clinics where they're doing a lot of vaccines, this will print like 100 certificates a day. It does it automatically, okay? You can also, for example, let's say disable reminders. Let's say, for example, you bought all of your, I'm going to use an American example here. Let's say I bought all of my rabies shots, I bought them from Novivac, right? And then next month I switched to Defensor. It's an American product.
Now
And
we use it here as well. Yeah.
I'll use it here as well. Let's say, oh, you use Defensor, and you say, oh my God, we had all these old Nobivac reminders. I'm just going to disable all the old Nobivac reminders. It's generally used for when you're switching products.
Yeah.
So just so you know, that's there. Then we have the ability to also create a follow-up reminder. So for example, let's take rabies as a better example. Defensor rabies here. And I have, or no, better yet, let's take Bordetella. I want to take, here we go, Bordetella. Right, so it's due in a year. But you say, you know what? I want to make sure that my clients, they're going to get one reminder from the clinic. I want them to have multiple reminders. I want them to get, because vaccines are so important. Right now, I have it set up in the software that they get one reminder 1 week prior. But you say, you know what? I want them to get a reminder also 2 weeks prior. And I want them to get a text message, maybe 3 days prior, right? So you can create multiple reminders for any item, okay? And the last thing that you can do with an action that is very important is you can also create tasks. So you say, for example, like let's say after a surgery, you want your staff to call the client up to make sure everything is okay. And you say, hey, whenever we do this to an animal, I am going to assign this to either, a staff member, or it'll have categories there. It could be like a receptionist, technician, whomever. And you say, and watch this, I'll assign it to myself. And I say, 3 days later, I want you to call client about patient health. And you can assign these to your staff, and they'll automatically have to do this. And so how does this look then on the other end? So watch this. If I go back to my patient here, and I'm going to add a surgical bundle because I know I already have a task associated with that. And I come to here, new record. I'm adding a bundle. And I say surgical procedure. Provider is me. And I don't need a medical note. And I hit next. And I take a look at this right here. Okay, edit. Okay, all looks okay. I hit create. And it takes a moment. It takes about 10 seconds when you add a bundle. And now what's going to happen is there should have been a task associated with that. I'm sorry. I might have.
I think you didn't save it.
Well, no, it's saved here. It's all right here. Here's the surgical visit. I want to make certain, though. Sorry, I thought I had a task associated with this. Let me check something here really quickly. Surgical procedure. Wait, actions. Oh, good. There is one. There is a task. Okay, good. So what will happen is, this is, sorry, interesting why there's no, I'm sorry, this is odd. Why are there no tasks? I create a task.
October 12.
Right. So, well, that's when I created it. But when I go to the client patient here, it should automatically create a.
That you've already,
I think. See, it's a demo account, and
yeah, sure. Do you want to use my account? Is that?
Sometimes things go funny in demo accounts. Let me. I'm sorry. Let me do let me try this one more time here.
Can you give me a minute? I'm just gonna get a glass of water.
Yeah, go ahead. Huh.
Sorry. Can I ask you a question?
Yes, please.
Before I forget. So when I put in an item in the inventory, what if I have different brands?
Oh, you can change the names. No problem.
So, for example, for cephalexin, is it gonna be are all the brands gonna be under just one entry of like under the cephalexin, or do I have to make an item for every brand?
You would have to make an item for anything that you're going to charge for.
Okay, so
even though, for example, like here, right, cephalexin, here they all of them, and you say, God, I don't like how this is called. Maybe I'm just making an example. Maybe in the Philippines it is spelled, just extreme example, with an F. You can just change it to this. You can take what we suggest and then go ahead and change it. Does that make sense?
Oh no, sorry. What I meant is, for example, so maybe you use two brands of of cephalexin. So there's the one that's made by Pfizer, and maybe there's another brand.
Right.
But they're both like 500 milligram capsules. They're exactly the same. They're just a different brand. Do they like? How is it? How is it in the inventory? Is it just? Is it like a totally different item, or is it like cephalexin brand A under?
Yes. So it's up to you. It's up to you. If you can combine them, but because do they have different prices?
They probably would.
If they have different prices, then I would do this. One comes from Pfizer.
Okay.
Put a P there.
Whatever you.
Well, here it is.
Yeah.
The staff. Here's the thing. This is what the staff sees. This is what the client sees. And you could put two items in. You can say one's Pfizer and one's Merck, right? Or one's Bayer, right?
Yeah.
And that way your staff can add them correctly. And go ahead, but the display name is the same as the client. The client doesn't care, right? But this is the way to do that. Does that answer your question?
Paiwan mo na lang. Choco lang naman yan, ano? Sige, mukhang okay naman. Sige, tanggapin mo na lang. Pero pa-check mo na rin kay Doc Mia pagdating. Okay, sige. Thank you. Sorry about that.
It's okay. Does this answer your question? You can just internally create two different kinds. Client always sees this, only sees the display name.
Yeah. So, but that means it just means though that they're just two separate items. Yes. on this. Is it an inventory? The record.
Yes. And the reason it's good to keep them separate because that way you can track the sales history for your reports.
Okay.
Hey, good. Now, the last thing I wanted to show here is, when you're doing setting those actions up here, a lot of these things, instead of going individually, we have an option to go bulk update. You could say, once you've started to put items in, you could say, you know what? Every one of my items, every one of my, vaccines,
yeah,
I am going to set up an alert for, right? I'm going to create an action and I'm going to create an alert. And this way you can do it all at once.
Yeah.
Right? Bulk updates lets you do a lot of things all at once to make it a little easier. Okay? The last thing here, if you look at the dashboard, these are my alerts. It shows me what's expiring. Now, look, this is my demo account. I don't pay attention to it, right? But it shows you know, it shows what the balance was, expiration, type, right? Just this is good to look at every day so you know what's going on. Don't worry about orders and receipts. This is for these integrations we have with U.S. suppliers.
Oh, okay.
So
Yeah.
don't worry about this. It's just good. The easiest thing is whenever you get the invoices, like I showed you, go to any one of these items and come to here and get the invoice and just add a new purchase. And
So
add
just,
it in.
sorry, go ahead.
I'll go ahead. Just add it in and boom, you're done.
Yeah. So the tab for orders and what's the other tab? It's just so that you have direct contact with your.
Yes. What this does is this connects you directly to these. We have these are like 3 or 4 different American suppliers. It connects you directly to their website.
Okay, so that basically doesn't have any use for us.
Exactly. Sorry to put it that bluntly. It just doesn't have any use. So I just leave these things alone.
For receipts too.
Receipts too.
Okay. It's for also between you and the supplier, yeah?
Yeah, this is between you and the supplier, and there just isn't a use. There isn't a practical use for it unless you have an integration with those suppliers and you don't. So we always tell our foreign-based clients to leave it. Ignore it. Now, the other things, though, you should take a look at here, categories. In Vetter, we start you off, right, with these, 14 categories, but you can add as many subcategories as you want. You're like, hey, I have 5 different types of surgeries or different kinds of pharmaceutical items. And that's why you come here and say, gosh, how many different fees do I have? You say, I want to add something, not just pharmacy. I want to call this, whatever. And you can create, as you can see, subcategories. We've created all these subcategories here. Types of food items, grooming items, and that's up to you. You create as many subcategories as you wish. Mm-hmm. And the last field here, quick edit. This is really good for staff to look at very quickly. Oh, let's look at all of our, surgical items. Boom, boom, boom. Oh, we only have one, all right, what have you, type stuff. And this is a way for you to look and see. Oh, that's anesthesia. How about dentistry? Right. So it's a way to look really quickly at our items, and it's just a little reference tool there. Okay. So that's inventory, and then you're going to live in, the first thing you got to do is you got to create inventory. And once you create inventory, right, you'll be able to then add charges. And you had asked earlier, speaking of reminders, let's take a look at your clinic here. I'm sorry, can you give me the clinic name again?
It's Pet Health Hub.
There we go. Pet Health Hub. Here we go. So now we're in your account here. And I'm going to come to here. And I'm looking at settings. And I want to take a look here. First of all, let me see. Staff. So good. Add these people here. You'll want to get your signature on here, Dr. Tabby.
Yeah.
So make sure you capture your signature here. Good. And I want to take a look at your reminders, how they're set up. So here you have everything 2 days prior. That's perfectly fine. And if you want to use text messaging, you would turn on this feature here. And and I want to check, I'm sorry, I got to check something really quickly here. I want to see what pricing would be for the Philippines. Sorry, let me check something up here.
Do they have bundles like a?
No, we just charge it by the message.
Okay.
Yeah, so everything there that's fine. It's okay, so it's 4 cents of 4 cents a message. As you can see, we don't make any money on that. So it's 5 cents a message.
Got it.
You turn it on, you send 100 texts at the end of the day, at the end of the month, you're billed $5.
Yeah.
We went away from the packages. We just want to make it easy for people to use as much or as little as they need. Okay. And let's see. So you mentioned like, let's say, certificates with the clinic logo. So as soon as we have, you want to upload your clinic logo here, right? You put it here.
Before you go to that, so if we actually use any text messages, she'll just bill us. It's just gonna you're just gonna put it on top of our.
Yes, it'll just go on the card, and it'll say at the end of the month, 32 text messages is $1.60.
Okay.
Basically, it'll say that there. Yes.
Copy.
So what you want to do is you want to add a logo, because you asked about certificates and the way certificates are generated. If you ever need to generate one manually, do you have any patient records in here yet? Oh yeah, you do. Perfect. So let's say you go to Abby's here, and let's say Abby needs a certificate. It would come right here and say, hey, let's print a certificate for rabies, reminders, vaccines, and let's say it's a rabies certificate, and this is how it'll look. Sorry, PDFs always take a moment.
Yeah.
And right here, there's a lot of blank information here, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I see. Oh, this is so near to where my ex-girlfriend grew up. Okay, so no, it's just all just sorry. These names are all I kind of know the area. It's a weird world. That's all.
Small world.
A small world, yeah.
Also possible because
Barangay, yeah. I'm sorry, these names are all coming back to me. Kind of funny. Sorry. Let me show you what it looks like though in my account where it's more complete.
Yeah.
Now, if we go to that patient here, let's say we go to that sample patient, my guy Azriel, and we want to print a certificate. Okay. Watch this. Now I have the patient name. I have all his information. I also have my signature, the clinic logo. Certificate is much more complete now. See, logo up here, picture, my signature, right, this stuff right here. So, and it has everything, right here, ready to go. So just to show you how it would look once it's kind of complete. Okay. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
You were going to show me how to upload the
logo?
The logo. What size does it have to be?
It'll take whatever size. It will take whatever size it is, but so all you do is you just choose file and upload it. But what it'll do is the logo, if you can imagine, the logo is spread across a page. It'll take the size. It'll make something smaller or larger.
Oh, okay.
Right. So if your logo is the size of a 8.5 by 11 piece of paper, it's going to shrink it to fit into, because it has to fit into kind of a small gap. It has to fit right into that certificate. So it really depends. I just mentioned sometimes we have clinics who take a huge logo that's like 5 inches by 5 inches, but it has to fit into a relatively small area, right? The upper right corner of the page. So the logo is huge. Better will shrink it. It just might not look very good once it's shrunk.
Yeah, that's okay. We'll just figure it out.
Yeah, don't worry. It takes care of itself there.
Okay.
Now, the most important thing that I'd like to focus on here with you is the adding is kind of a clinic flow and adding records. Okay. Now, I'm going to make a sample appointment here. Okay. Just say sample appointment. We come in. You can make all your own appointment types, as many as few as you want. different
Are there any
colors.
preloaded ones into
No,
our?
there are no preloaded ones.
Okay.
Only because, well, there's the regular checkup is preloaded,
Mm-hmm.
but everything else, just because we've learned clinics are going to make their appointment. They want to make them themselves. So
Yeah.
I'll show you how to do that. Very easy. Now, if it were a brand new client calling for an appointment, I can look. Vetter's saying, "Hey, add client," right?
Mm-hmm.
And you can add the client directly through here. Once Vetter recognizes the person, though, then it's going to give you an option. Oh, and their pets. And if they had a new pet, you would add a patient here, and we do this, and you can add referral sources. You can add these notes in here. Now, some of these are funny, but
So why do you put client lives 2 miles from nearest road entry?
oh, this is like if he was a mobile veterinarian.
Oh, okay, got
So
it.
I give demos right to mobile vets,
Mm.
and you're right. So sometimes I'd say it's a mobile vet. Little notes like this. Oh, now we know they live at the end of a dark,
Yeah, just okay.
road. Be scared. Be afraid.
I was just curious. I was just curious why you had that there.
Yeah, good. No, very good question. And we come here and we'll make an appointment here, and this is to check. Hey, I want to check information, reminders, everything okay. I hit next. And then, when you make an appointment, Vetter will send out a confirmation email right away, email or text. And if the appointment is made, let's say it's made 3 weeks in advance here at the same day, Vetter's also then going to send out a reminder. Okay? And we have default messages for all of these, or you can make up your own. You can customize and make your own messages using our letter templates.
Sorry, can you give me a minute?
Yes, absolutely.
I'm sorry about this.
Okay.
Hello?
Go ahead.
Oh. Uh-uh. Na text. Sabihin mo, hindi mo mata-text mo ba si Doc Nia? Hindi, no? Oh, hindi. Sige. Sige, sabihin mo sige. Sabihin ko siya. Sige. Okay, thank you. Sorry, can you just give me 1 minute just to
Yes,
clinic?
it's okay.
I'm really sorry. Hang on. Okay. Sandali na nga. Nasa bag niya. Yeah, sorry about that. Go ahead.
No, it's okay. Not a problem.
So again, sorry. So this is the email reminder, and you're gonna
right. I'll show you in a moment where you can make your custom messages.
Mm-hmm.
Right. You can have them say the default messages are perfectly fine, but you can customize your messages. But let me show you that in a moment. And now I'm going to save the appointment, and there it is. Okay. So our appointment is saved. Now, before I check in the appointment, I'm going to go to your other questions here about appointment types. In settings, very easy. Come here and say new appointment type. And it's really easy. You name it whatever you want, how long you want it, and hey, what color code? I want it to be, I don't know, blue, this range or whatever. And I hit, choose, and I have the color, and, we have online booking too, but that doesn't apply to you right now. So this is how you make your appointment. Name it however long you want, and that's it. Simple as that. Okay. And the other thing is this: Vetter sends out, we call them email defaults, just so you see. Vetter sends out like 20 different emails. Like if you email someone a letter, an invoice, an estimate, a checkout document, like the certificate, anything that you send out, Vetter already has a message for it. It's really basic. Here is, the certificate for Fluffy the dog for their, vaccines. Thank you, and it has the system default. Or you can create your own message. You can customize this to say whatever you wish. Mm-hmm. And you say, hey, I don't like Vetter's message for estimates. I'm going to use my own. And you make these in letter templates, and you just pick and choose from here which one you want. Mm-hmm. And these are just ones I've made, but just to show you where those messages come from.
Can you edit the templates from here, or do you have to go to the tab?
You have to go to the you have to then go to the hey, here's the appointment reminder appointment confirmation email.
So I want
to go here to edit this, and it says here, dear owner, so you'll notice dear owner first name. Maybe I wanted to also say watch last name, and I go to owner information. I put last name, right? And I hit save, and now it'll come the owner first name and last name. And it'll automatically, so you can add all these information in here, right? Mm-hmm. And then the Vetter just merges in, because it knows what you want in the software. Mm-hmm. It'll merge that in. And so, that's the appointment confirmation email. Or for example, here, I go back to the letter templates here. Especially the appointment reminder email. Those are, because a lot of that is very clinic specific. Here, appointment reminder email. I put things in here. Please be sure to arrive 15 minutes early to fill out necessary paperwork. Or maybe you have surgeries and you say, if you're coming for a surgery, if you're scheduled for surgery, please arrive by 9 a.m., right? Or, whatever instructions you want to include. And so this allows you to customize the reminder email too. And so the default message will be really basic. It'll just say, we're looking forward to seeing you and blah, blah, blah on this time. And if you need to reschedule, call us here. And then I just added in these extra things here, right? So a lot of times the default message is fine, but you can edit it to add more material if need be. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Okay,
great. So now let me take you through an appointment and the way we add charges. So now we are here, Mr. Azriel, and I'm going to check him in. And in the check-in process, it's going to ask some questions. It's going to weigh my guy. And by the way, remember, he's really fat at 45 kilograms. So I'm giving him a better weight now. He's going to be 7 kilograms.
Is that your average cat weight there?
Yeah, in the U.S.
Really?
Well, actually, in the U.S., cat's about 5 kilograms.
Okay, because I was thinking, wow, our cat.
Seven's pretty fat. My parents' cat is really fat.
Okay, good. I was thinking, wow, they have really big cats there.
just like the rest of America, right? So it's about 4 to 5 kilos, I'd say. And now here we have an option to print things. Some clinics still want paper printed. Maybe you want a intake form, or you have paperwork you want printed. And you can print at a time of check-in here. A lot of times clinics, when they're first starting up, they'll still print things out right here. That's okay, up to you. And when we check in a patient, you have the option to create a medical note. Now, it depends on the clinic here. In the U.S., it's like 50, it's 50-50, and how clinics do this. The doctor or the technician will come out, they'll pick up the animal, and they'll tell the receptionist, hey, today we're in here for just a basic visit, right? Here, just use the basic soap, the annual exam note. Or they're here for a surgery or what have you. And they'll tell the receptionist, and they say, please check him in. Check him in with this medical note and with this bundle. That's like the grouping of charges. Or they just tell the receptionist, hey, check him in, always with an invoice. And by the way, if they have an old invoice, an open invoice, it'll show. And they'll say, just check him in with an invoice, and then later in the room, the technician or the doctor will add the bundle or the medical note. This is up to you. It all really it depends on how good your receptionists are.
Or how big the clinic is.
Yeah, and how big the clinic is. You know, if it's a huge clinic, in the huge clinic, the receptionists just check them in with an invoice. The technicians take them in back, and the technicians then add the medical note and add the bundle. How do you think you're going to do it?
I'll probably just ask my receptionist to do
right. In smaller clinics, perfect. In smaller clinics, they'll just come out and say, receptionist, hey, this is great. We're here. Why don't we just use the the basic soap, the basic medical note, and we're going to use a checkup, a bundle, feline. I have a cat, feline wellness exam bundle. Okay. Now, if the secretary forgets or the receptionist forgets to do it and you're in a hurry, you can always add those in later. The most important thing is always, 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 always check in with an invoice or an estimate. If you check them in with an estimate, you can convert it to an invoice. But because the software needs that invoice to trigger a lot of things. And you come here, you can take a look at the bundle. I'm not going to send anything to a lab today. I'm not going to worry about that. And this is a chance where you say, I could change this bundle and go, oh, maybe I want a different one, and I hit back. But don't worry about editing the bundle here because you can always make changes later. It's much easier. Just think of this as the foundation. And I hit save. And right now the patient's being checked in, the client's being checked in, reminders are being updated, inventory's updated. We're checked in. And look at this. We've suddenly created an invoice, right, with all of those charges. And we're going to create a medical note we're going to go into, right? So,
sorry, can I ask you a question?
Go ahead. I just want to show you. See, look, invoice has been created. Medical note's been created. Go ahead.
So since you generated, say, a vaccine bundle, for example,
right,
it'll automatically say charge, say it's for annual vaccines, and they're due, for example, for a 5-in-1 and rabies vaccine and the consult. So you have all three of those items automatically charged up. Is that correct?
Yes.
Do they actually remove it straight from the inventory?
Yes.
Or is it only removed when is there like a finalize button or something?
No. As soon as you add the charge, it automatically updates inventory and reminders.
Will you be able to cancel an invoice without? So can my receptionist do that, or is it a higher
no, if you want, if you trust your receptionist, absolutely.
Okay.
So here's generally what happens. People will start off with the bundle. Clinics will add the bundle, and they'll add more. A lot of times, they'll even put more items in here than they may need. Because here's what's easy. You go to the medical note. Sorry, let me go. Oops. Sorry. Gosh. And let me move it here. They'll go to the medical note here, and you're in the medical note, right? This shows the patient reminders, information, the invoice, how much they're paying right now. Notice he's only 5 kilograms. I'm much happier. Right, and all these fields, right, they all auto-expand. You can add any of your notes in here. It shows old diagnoses, and This is just a very basic medical note here, very simple. Okay. Now, what you can do is you say, what are we doing today? These are our charges. Remember, in Vetter, we call charges records.
Okay.
So you come to here and you say,
I have to get used to.
you know what? Today, we didn't need the Clavamox drops. Delete. We didn't need both of these labs, right? Delete. Oh, and you little things here. You can notice nail trim canine. Wait, Tabby, right? That's your name. That's a cat. And you say, hey, we can always edit this. Not a problem. We can correct this and go and say, nail trim. Feline. There it is. Right? We just update it. Oh, same invoice, same medical note. We can also add to here. We can say, gosh, we need a I want to have a rabies. For some reason there's not there is a Novivac rabies. For some reason you say, hey, maybe it needs a Bordetella vaccination. Oh, we forgot to add this. And you just come to here and you go ahead and you add this here. Oh, here's that task I was talking about. And Vetter tracks how many you have left at any time. And now, see, you can always add these things too. Boom. So we have all, nice, everything right here. This is good. Now, in other words, you can keep adding charges. Now, if you want in your clinic, I'm going to refresh this. If you want the receptionist at the end, and notice, here's the Bordetella, I've edited things. The receptionist always at the end can edit things too. You know what? We didn't do that lab. Delete it, right? Or the client declined it, Or we can always add items to the end up here too, right? So you always have options to add on to bundles or edit them if need be. Okay. Now, my whole thing about adding records is always you want to tie it to a medical note. And I'm going to show you what I mean by this. If I look at Azriel's record here, it makes a lot of sense, right? Because everything is right here. Oh, we did this with this medical note and that invoice, right? It's all tied to this medical note from today. Mm-hmm. Now, because you can add more records. So, for example, let's say it's the client comes back after an hour and says, "Oh my God, Dr. Tabby, I forgot this medicine. Whatever. I need to add one more thing. Or can you give the cat a bath or grooming, right?" And a lot of times clinics say sure, and you don't want to make an appointment. You don't want to deal with the schedule. You don't want to make an appointment. And you come to here and you say, let's add that same thing I added, right, that record right here. It's the same thing I did right here, right? Like I can add a new vital here. I can add a diagnostic test, right? I can add items. But whenever you add items, I always stress to clinics, make sure they're connected to the medical note. So, for example, let's say, I don't know, they all of a sudden needed amoxicillin. Something comes up, right? Yeah. And notice here, you're adding it outside of the medical note. Yeah. And so Vetters doesn't think there's a medical note involved, although you could pick one. Now, a lot of clinics, they skip over this, they go really fast, and they do this. Now, it's on the same – oh, I forgot to add the provider. Oops. And it's on the same – and boom, boom, boom. So the record's sake – and notice here, it's on the same invoice 4046. But there's no reference here. Now, normally that's not a problem, but imagine 6 months later, you look at the patient history and you say, Why do they have amoxicillin? Now, look, I know you know why they have amoxicillin. That's a very simple drug to understand. But maybe it's something more complex. And you say, God, where's the medical note? Where are the notes? Always, 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 whenever possible, tell your staff, connect it to a medical note. And if they forget, not a problem. Just edit it and open it up and come back to here and say, hey, let's do this right there, save. Right? You can edit it by clicking on it, or you can go to the little gear icon and edit it right here too. But it's great to have a reference. It's just like, for example, if you took, maybe you want to take pictures of the animal. There's a cut or something, you want an attachment, right? It's nice to, you take a tablet, you take a picture of the animal, they're limping or a cut, and then from the tablet, you just press attachment, and you can, this is a picture that a vet sent us of her and her cat, and I hit open, and I hit, right, name of client, could be, who's the client here? It's Mr. Gargamel, right? And now Vetter's going to upload it, and now it's attached, right, again, to that medical note. See, what's nice is that view attachments, right, it's going to be attached. The same thing as if I add a letter. Like, hey, let's add a letter. Like, let's say there's a consent form. You made a consent form, right, for surgery. And I take right here, like, consent form. And the owner is Mr. Gargamel. I'm going to be the author here. And I hit save. And notice here's my consent form, right? If I hit edit, right, it shows all the little features in here. And I want to go ahead and I want to have the client sign it. It's really easy. Sign letter. And then you hand it to the client. You hand them a tablet, right? Mm-hmm. And they can draw with their fingertips on a tablet or use a stylus. Or I can just, kind of type it here. Easier that way. And I hit this, and it refreshes. And then notice here it's connected to a medical note. And it just makes everything a lot cleaner. Because gosh darn it, the controls keep getting in the way. Sorry. God, I hate this. Sorry, the controls keep getting in the way. I have to move this here. And let's say I come to here, and I go to documents, and I view those letters. Notice here, it's nice. The consent form is tied to the medical note. And if your staff forgets, you can always go back in. Oops, I'm sorry. My mistake. You can always go back in and edit this, right? And edit this and say edit letter. And oh God, I'm sorry, I made a mistake there. When your staff let's say your staff adds a letter outside of the medical note. It adds a letter outside of the medical note, adds new letter. Here's the chance reference included in here, right? It's just like adding attachments. Add them so that they are referenced to a medical note. It just will make life easier right down the line.
If I have to pull them out again, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So I just want to show you, and maybe in some cases, maybe it's your cat at the end of the day, and you're like, hey, I'm just taking care of my animal, and I don't need all of these things. Or maybe it's my mom's, my husband's, whatever, pet, cat, dog, whatever. That's fine. Just come here and you can add like charges very quickly, boom, 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 and don't worry about, references. But if you are going to do it right with clients, always add them here.
No, I can relate because we have because we're using a different software now, right? And we can actually attach files as well. But we have all these files, and they're not attached to any. They're not associated with any record. So,
right.
Say for example, we have serial blood blood testing. So when was this? I'd have to look through them again. Which one is the latest? Which one is the latest blood work we did? When did we do?
Sure.
So I totally understand what
Right,
you mean.
like here, these are sample. I make these samples as mistakes. Like, hey, let's see. Here's an X-ray, and you look
Exactly.
at this. You're like, great, and the X-ray is. I can't. Sorry, the controls keep getting in the way here. I can't
No
access
worries.
my tabs here, and I come to here and I say, wait, what's the reference? Where's the source? And you have
Yeah.
an X-ray all of a sudden. You're like, this. I have no idea what I'm looking at, right?
Correct.
So
Yeah.
just as a little training thing, I like to always emphasize. Now coming back to this, the last thing now is, let's say they're done, you've done your charges, and you want to check people out. Now, by instinctively, everybody, I'm going to close all the other tabs here. Instinctively, people want to go to billing. And they say, why? Because here's an invoice. And I want to check out Mr. Gargamel, right now. And here's our invoice, what we did. That's great. And I want to collect payment. Well, you can do this, right? But billing is designed in Vetter to be a place where you manage your payments, your returns, your credits, your refunds, where you manage things, right? Oh, somebody so-and-so returned something, and I'm going to give you an example. Hey, let's say Gargamel comes in the next day and, whatever, he wants to make a return. And I want to come in, I'm going to make a return, Mr. Gargamel, and what are you returning? And he comes in, and now what happened, Vetter remembers every item he's ever bought, right? So I'm just going to make something up that he bought. Did he buy any food? Hills. Yeah, so he bought some Hills food, right? So you go like here, oh, look, he bought this last week. So Vetter's going to remember this all. You say, oh, you're returning this, and it'll let you return as many as he bought. Do I want to restock in an inventory? Yes or no, right?
Yeah.
Do I want to keep the medical record?
Sorry, if you don't want to restock it, what
Then
does
you
it?
just leave it at 0.
Oh, okay.
No problem. Hey, and do you want to keep the medical record or not? And here's the reason, change my, whatever. You make this up. And now, hey, look, I've created a return. And then Vetter, does this look okay? And you can double check it on the invoice just to make certain and go, did he really buy this, right? And yeah, he did. And he paid for it, right? It's all paid for. And, you can double check this.
Yeah.
And then you come to here and you say post return. And it's going to give you a choice. Do you want to give, this is up to you, do you give your clients a refund? On a cash, credit card, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Or do you just issue a credit? Right? And if you issue a credit, that credit of $62 sits on the client account. So now I've created the return. I've issued a credit, which sits right here on the client, account, returned food, clinic policy does not allow refunds for food items, which is, that's normal. So, but we'll give you a credit. We'll be a nice guy, and maybe you only give them, who knows? Maybe you'll, entirely up to you how you want to do this. So now we have this credit here. If I want to double check this, I go to Gargamel and I take a look here and say, hey, credits. Oh, there it is right there, So in other words, billing is used as a place to manage your billing processes. Like, hey, here's our latest return we made right there. Here's a credit. Had we issued a refund, it'd be under refunds. Now, I did this in this order, Dr. Tabby, just so you could see. We're going to check the client out now. Now, watch what happens in the checkout process. Clinics always, like I said, clinic employees want to go to billing and collect payment there. And by all means, you can. You can go to here and you can collect payment. But you know what? You're only collecting payment on one invoice, right? And,
Mm-hmm.
and it shows you the credits here. It makes it, you can do this all, but it's a little harder to do. We never intended billing to be the place to collect payments. Instead, think of it this way. The client walked in from the front, they're going to check out from the front. And you're going to go up here to the schedule. Here's that appointment. And I'm going to hit checkout. Now, notice any open invoice is right here. Any credit is right here. I don't have to fish around and look at multiple invoices. It's all right here. And this is what he owes us. If I don't want to collect that credit, notice he owes us more. If I put it there, he owes us less. Maybe I collect on 2 of them or on 1, right? Up to you. You select your payment type, whatever processor you're using, right? Vetter is just recording the payment. And here's what's neat is I can generate any paperwork from the appointment. Hey, that vaccine certificate, instead of printing it separately, we'll have it right here. And your reminders, instead of sending them, Vetter will still send them right here. You want to see a copy of your medical note? Right here. And you know that consent form, that letter you signed? Right here. Every one of these items you could send individually. For example, medical note. Every item in Vetter can be sent individually. Export, right? Email, fax, print, right? That letter, right? Everything. Email, fax, print. But it's nice to do it all at once. And imagine telling your clients, hey, you know what? When you leave, just check your phone in 30 seconds. And I'm gonna print it so you can see it. Check your phone in 30 seconds, and then you'll get all the paperwork you need. And by the way, if you forgot to put a rabies tag number, Vetter will tell you. It's like saying, nope, can't check out. We need that rabies tag.
What's a rabies tag number?
That's for the United States. United States, they have to actually put down each rabies vaccine has a different tag number, like 1, 2, 3, 4. And the next one will be 1, 2, 3, 5, and 1, 2, 3, 6.
Is that like a lot number? Is that what you mean?
Yeah, it's not the lot number. So they'll have a lot number for the entire rabies tray. And then in the U.S., they require each vaccine inside the lot has a tag number, usually 4 digits. So imagine literally it'll be 001, 0002, 0003. And the clinic has to put in one each for each rabies. Now, if you don't have to do that in the Philippines, no problem. You just do this. You hit the space bar, and it goes away.
Okay.
No problem.
Yeah. I guess is rabies a very controlled vaccine there?
It's okay. Let's put it this way. You know how Americans love to overreact about everything, right?
I don't know.
Have you ever been to the United States, or you know a lot of Americans?
Yeah, I actually have classmates from California.
Okay. American society tends to overreact. You know, look, I make this as a bad joke. If somebody falls,
you can make the joke because you're American.
I can make the joke, but if somebody falls off a bridge in the rest of the world, and I'm originally from Germany, so it would be the same way in Germany, and in the Philippines, and in Mexico, and in China, and whatever, people would say, God, that guy should have been more careful and not. Let's say he was drunk and wandered off the bridge. Everyone would say he shouldn't have been drunk walking on a bridge. In the United States, they will suddenly build a 10-foot fence on each side of the bridge, right? Because one person fell off of it. So what happened here in the U.S. is that somewhere some years ago, I guarantee you, some dog had rabies, bit a little kid. The kid got rabies. The parents went ahead and sued the clinic because the clinic didn't keep good records, and the clinic didn't put down the rabies tag number, and some poor veterinarian went out of business because they got sued. And then they made a law here that said every rabies has to have a tag number.
Got it. Okay.
Because this has to be reported to government agencies. So in the U.S., the vets have to send off monthly rabies reports to government agencies.
Oh.
It's all because we overreact. My answer is simple. Don't get bit by the dog. But,
Yeah, obviously, yeah.
Sorry. I was a little kid once, and I was smart enough not to stick my hand into a strange dog's mouth. So that's my little side humor.
I was just wondering what it was for. So.
Sure. No, it's a really good question because when I train, foreign clinics, they ask that too. I tell the same story, right, to a lot of them. So really quickly here, imagine you suddenly hit export. Imagine now in one action, you've collected payment, and the client then looks at their phone and goes, oh, here's that nice consent form I signed. Oh, here's my vaccine certificate, right?
It's all the documentation, right?
All documentation. Oh, here are my reminders. Even though Vetter will send these again, you have it in paper in front of them. Paid invoice. Paid invoice. Here's my medical note. I didn't do much of the medical note, right? But
it's okay.
So you have so it's a great client communication tool.
I don't think I'll be sending medical notes either, though.
No, don't. I never recommend sending them because then clients just get confused. But just so you know, this is a great way. Now I look over here. Oh, look, they're checked out. The little arrow here leaving the door. They're leaving. They're checked out. And you're done. And,
sorry. Yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, so for example, you accidentally checked out before checked out the wrong client. You can reverse these?
Yeah, so if you checked out the wrong client, it would be a few separate steps. You literally what you would do, let's just say oh my God, I should have not checked out Gargamel.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to I'd have to do this. I have to go to billing, and I go to payments, and this is what I would do. I'd come to here and say, whoops, wrong guy. First of all, let's delete the payment.
Mm-hmm.
So now those invoices are open again, right? So if the payment's been deleted, I go back to unpaid invoices, and there they are right on top.
Okay, and that means you're not checked out yet? Oh, sorry.
Yeah, so now, unfortunately, the checkouts happened. I can't do anything about you checking them out. Okay. But you want to come and collect for Gargamel now? You have to come to here. You've checked them out, but no problem. They got the paperwork, but no problem. I mean, nothing. The payment didn't register, and I can come here and manually do this. Okay. Now I come to here and I hit, new payment, right? And I select the two invoices, right? They have, these two items here. And then I go ahead and, I could print a receipt, and I can still payment type. I can still do it this way. It's just not as nice or anything.
Not as efficient.
If you accidentally checked someone out, you would just delete the payment and then bill them manually like this.
Okay.
Are
the checkouts, is that why you have a checkout? It shows you, does it also show you how long you've been with the patient?
Yes. So, for example, if I want to check anyone's history, there's the best place.
How long did I take, or how long did my vet take? Yeah.
Watch this. I go to the client, view all appointments. Here's my appointment right here, checked out. Mm-hmm. Oh, look, I checked him in at 6:34, checked him out at 6:57.
Okay.
And you can also check this we have here the clinic census, which also tracks everything that's going on during the day. And I can also access the same information here. Oh, yeah, checked them out here. There we go. Checked in, checked out.
So, sorry, going back to my question about the checkout. That means once you check them out, this doesn't change anymore.
No. Now, in a worst case scenario, if this is really, really critical, like I can't have this information be wrong, email us, email support, and say, I accidentally checked out Mr. Gargamel. Can you undo the checkout? Like, I can't do it. It's something engineers have to do, and the engineers will be able to undo it.
I know. I think you just check them in again.
Oh, okay. You could do that too. but you know, yeah.
It's not vital. It's just something like maybe if you want to be anal about it and you want to see, okay, especially if you're training new vets, it shouldn't take an hour for vaccine, for example, things like that. So
no, you can absolutely just check them back in again. That's what most people do.
Okay.
And they'll come to here and they'll do this. Oh my God, it was a mistake. And they'll come to here and they'll delete the invoice. They'll come here. You can delete the invoice. You can delete the medical note, right? You can delete that anything ever happened. I mean, I can always come to here, right, and just go, well, this medical note never happened. Delete, right? That invoice, never happened. Right, so I can delete the invoice. I can delete any record that this ever happened. It just takes a few steps to do.
Got it.
So hopefully we're hitting, it's the 7 o'clock. Hopefully this was helpful. This is 90% of what you need. What you need to focus on next is to do, like I said, your inventory and then to build your templates.
Yeah.
Letters and bundles and stuff like that.
Got it.
Okay. Is there anything else I can help you with right now?
I actually have a question. So I tried putting in my staff, and I'm supposed to put in an email address for them, correct? Yeah.
Yes.
Each of my staff members. What exactly do you need? Is it used for logins? Is it the reason I'm asking is if, say, for example, one of my staff leaves and they have access to the software and they still have access to the email that we put in. I'm assuming and they've changed, say, their password. Would I be able to block them? Like, these are their actual personal emails.
Deactivate.
That's it. That's all.
Now, if you want to keep them, here's what some people do. Let's say you want to keep their record. Mm-hmm. Let's say you want to keep them there because they're on the schedule, or you want to keep their timesheets or something. You know what? Can you hang on just a second? I'm getting a call from my family, my dad, a number of calls. Just a moment.
I'm so sorry. Yeah, go ahead.
Hey. I'm on a demo. What's going on? Okay. All right. Bye-bye. Sorry. So right here, I can always do this. What clinics will do here, if they want to keep them on the schedule, you want to keep Lilbeth on the schedule, you just come to here and do this. You put a 1 in front of it or an X, and then they can't log in.
Oh, okay.
Right. So they remain on the schedule and everything, and you have their records, because once you deactivate them, they'll be gone. But here's a way. Put an X in front.
Mm-hmm.
No one can see, look, resolve. There it is.
Yeah.
Nobody.
I didn't actually put in those. I didn't put in the number in the address. So I figured Vetter got it from the records of her pets.
We got it from, I don't know.
Because I didn't fill those up.
Maybe she did.
No, I didn't give her access yet. Actually, when I was doing this, because I didn't know if I should put in their mobile numbers yet. when I saved it, their numbers actually came out. So I figured they actually have files from their pets. Is
Oh,
that where
yeah.
is that better?
That's what Vetter did. Yep.
I say, wow,
Yeah,
where did
that's
they
what
get?
happened.
Okay.
So, but the way you do that, you just put a little X in front, and you're good to go there.
Okay, got it.
Okay. And I imagine you'll have more questions, so just reach out to me or Sagi, and we will do our utmost to help you.
Yeah. Sorry, just one last question.
Yes.
I got it. So I changed the email address of the clinic. When I got that, it asked me to verify it. So did I successfully do that? Because I did. I went through the link that was sent through the email, and I verified it.
Here, we're gonna test this.
Yeah.
Watch this. I'm gonna add myself. You can delete me in a moment. We're gonna test to see where the email comes from. Okay. I gotta create some document.
Sure.
Okay, wait, here's what we'll do. No problem. I'm going to Abby here. Going certificates, email, a rabies certificate. See, here's the default messages. You can always change those. And here's what we're gonna do. Emailing it to me. Certificate.
Yeah.
There it is. You did it correctly. It's coming from your clinic email address. Good job.
Sorry, one more question. I noticed that. So I changed the number as well. Can I add more numbers?
Yes, you can absolutely. This is how you edit this. So this was the emailing of certificates, right?
Yeah.
And so what you do here is you come to here and you'd say, hey, certificates, email defaults, like certificate. This gets the system default. You would essentially take that, for example, where's my email? I would take this right here. I'd go like, basically like this. I take the original message and I come to here.
Just paste it.
And I go, new template, certificate, email, the letter template, and I'd paste it in here, right? And then I would, right, but this is where you go, dear, so it works for anyone.
Got it.
You'd say, dear, right? Dear Matt, right? Comma. Below is the link to, right, patient, so-and-so certificate, and, you see what I mean? And then you add another phone number here, right?
And can you add that phone number to the settings for the general settings for the clinic?
You can only have, I believe, only one phone number.
Yeah.
But that's okay. You just manually put 2 in.
Got it. Yeah.
Yeah, you just put 2 in or 3 or whatever you need. It just works like that.
Okay.
Well, good. I need to run. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I know. I'm sorry. I don't want to keep you.
No. And I'm glad. Thank you for your time. I hope this was helpful. And
I'm sorry for the time. I know the time is kind of inconvenient.
No, it's okay. I'm happy to help. It's what we do. And I wish you all of the best. And,
thank you.
And I hate to say Sige, right?
Yeah.
my other 10 words that I know. And I look forward to working with you, Dr. Tabby.
Thank you very much.
And I'll send you the recording in an email, okay?
Got it. That will be helpful for my other staff as well.
Yeah. Take care.
Take care as well. Bye. Thank you.